Okay, we've amended the date of compliance based on the date of sale, basically, when the property transferred to 4/11/2011, which reduces case ending in 917 to $48,900. Yes, sir. The city's ask doesn't change from the 30%, and in response to the applicant's testimony, city certainly feels for the applicant and the personal health issues with the family, but at the same time, this is rental property, not his homestead. So while we were citing 52 times during their ownership, I mean, he stated he always complied with the city, but I guess that was after he was notified. So while we cited 52 times under their ownership, I mean, they were sitting comfortably in Loxahatchee Groves in their homesteaded property that's currently valued at $750,000, with an adjacent vacant parcel appraised at $264,000 that currently has a pending sale for $275,000. The city's ask remains at 30%.
30.
30.
Thank you. All right, so sir, in response to what the city's revised recommendation and revised position is, they have acknowledged the compliance date as you've indicated and changed that lien amount from $106,800 to $48,900.
6,000?
So the
46,000. Remind me which case are we talking about?
So here, let me summarize where we are. Based on your testimony, and then the city did some follow-up research while we were off the record. The case ending in 917 shows on the agenda a lien amount of $126,800. However, based on all of that, the city's position has changed, and that lien amount is $48,900. So that's changed fairly significantly. The other two cases are unchanged. The city's recommendation to me for all three cases would be to reduce these to no more than 30% of their value. So that would be, if I was to accept the city's recommendation,
yes,
that would reduce the lien in the case ending in 917 to about $14,600. It would reduce the lien in the case ending in 316 to about $1,000, and it would reduce the last lien that is $74,000 down to $22,200 or so, for a total of about $39,000 total. That was the city's recommendation. So let me come back to you and let you proceed from there.
What I want to say is that the house may be mine, but at these values that they're saying, but it was through appreciation. It is my mother who paid basically all this money. We bought it at that time. And the reason why now I'm selling this piece is to take care of her. That's going to cost us about $5,000 a month to put her in a home. With Alzheimer's, that's like $60,000 a year. You think it's a lot of money, but it's not. 2006, we are selling it for $260,000. We already have to pay what we borrowed, about $40,000, and by the time we pay the realtor all the closing costs, we're down to $190,000. That's basically 3 years of taking care of my mother. This is basically what I'm looking at. It is, you think it's a lot of money, and you maybe want a little bit off of it, but I need that. I need that. I'm still in charge of my wife has custody of our son, and I don't know my mother is going to live 3 years or 10 years. You know, whatever money you take out of this amount is going to be off of me being able to take care of her, eventually put her in a home in a strange environment where, the state's going to pay for her.
I understand. And I am listening. I'm also
Yeah,
trying to figure out what I'm going to do here. All right. Anything else from the city?
No, sir.
Anything else, sir, that you'd like to tell me?
Yes, I feel that given what I told you, I didn't damage anybody. I didn't cause anybody any money. This is all punitive, and you're punishing me that I had to take care of a handicapped child with care that is worth about $100,000 a year. I think I have shown that. I don't think that is fair.
May the city respond, sir?
Well, let me say something first. I'm not punishing anybody, sir.
No, not you, sir. But the damages are.
The fact of the matter is you owned properties that fell out of compliance with city codes, and
Yes.
the city simply followed the law.
Yes.
In assessing liens. This is not about crime and punishment. This is an administrative hearing. So
no,
I disagree that anyone's being punished. Go ahead, Mr. Posner, you can respond.
To echo part of that, I'm certainly sorry he feels this is punitive, but as you know, it's administrative, and bottom line, this is a legal debt the applicant owes the city. We understand his circumstances and have generously stated we're willing to reduce it by 70%. That's a pretty large amount on the face of it. It might have been more had we not been dealing with a situation where there were 52 different cases under their ownership. But the facts are what they are, so the city's standing by the
All right, thank
30%.
you, Mr. Posner. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, first, I didn't mean to say that you were punishing me, but that was $100 per day. That was not damages to anybody. That's what I meant. What was the other issue? I missed it.
My only comment was that I did not agree that this is about punishing anybody. This is an administrative proceeding.
Yes,
That's-
I was just referring to the $100 per day. Basically, I didn't damage anybody. I didn't cause anybody to lose anything. That's what I meant.
Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that, and if you'd like to finish up, go ahead.
You know, if it is $30,000, whatever, I mean, can we recap and me getting a pen so I can write it down and so I know what I'm agreeing to?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. What are you asking?
Can I get a pen so I can? Oh. Okay. So, we're looking at numbers.
I'm not sure what the question is. There's been no ruling yet.
What are we talking about? 30, you said 30%?
Well, the city, he hasn't made a ruling on whether it would be 30%, but the city's ask was 30%. For the $3,450 one, 30% is $1,035.
1,000? Hold on, let me write
Well,
down.
here I can summarize this. I've already done it.
Yes, thank you.
You have three cases. The total amount of the three liens altogether is about $126,500, give or take. That's the city's request is that that be reduced by no more than 30% of that value. That would be about $38,000. The city's request is that I not reduce this to anything less than $38,000, down from $126,500. Now, I'm going to make a final decision on what I think the appropriate amount of the reduction should be, but that's where we are at the moment.
I cannot go for that. Wait, first of all, I don't have the money. I would have to pay it out of when I sell the property, which means that it's going to be paid out of my mother's care. I just cannot agree to that. I would prefer not to sell the property and find another solution for it. I mean, of course, that's going to be like, I have to work hard for it now, because this was my solution. This was my plan all along to at the end to sell this property and take care of her in her old years. This just came up. This didn't just come up. I wasn't aware of it.
Okay.
So I need something. I need something better than $38,000. That's a lot of money. A lot of money for not doing any damage to anybody.
Magistrates, he keeps saying he didn't do any damage, but 52 cases over the course of his ownership is a lot of work the city put in. And for that 10 years with these 52 cases, he was certainly bringing down property values.
And I appreciate that. So when I'm making decisions on these types of cases, the city's code tells me the things that I have to consider. And there's a list of 8 things that I'm charged with taking into consideration when I make a decision in these cases.
Yes, sir.
And I'll just go through them very briefly. The gravity of the violation, how serious the violations were, how long it took for the properties to come into compliance, any prior or subsequent code violations on the same property during the period of time that you owned it, whether you owned other property in the city, and whether there were other code cases or other code enforcement liens on those other properties, whether the applicant requesting the release took proactive action to correct the violations, any other specific information available about the property or the applicant requesting the release, and any other factor which may show a hardship on the applicant requesting the release or which may provide a reasonable basis for the relief. So, the things, and there are there are things that touch on most of those. You've provided evidence about the foreclosures and the medical conditions in your family and that sort of thing. The city's also, given me information that there have been 52 other cases on property that you were involved with over the years. And so, I look at both sides of the equation. I also look at what the violations were in these cases. And some of it was rental, these were rental properties, and some of it was rental licenses. But some of it had to do with boarding up the property, and that's a little more serious in my view. One of them was a repeat violation. So I look at all of that as well, and I have to try and come up with what I think is the appropriate amount to reduce this. So just so that you understand, that's what I'm doing up here. And I'm trying to,
Yes, I understand,
I have to
sir.
put all that together and come up with the number that I feel is the appropriate number for the reduction based on all that. I also look at the sale history, when you bought it, when you sold it, and what the appraised and assessed tax value is. I have all that up here as well.
I
So-
bought this property for $42,000.
I beg your pardon?
$42,000. And eventually I lost it, so I didn't really make any money on it. And I have to remind you that I'm sure the city knows that this property is, like this picture here, is kind of misleading. This is how the tenants left it.
I
This
see
is
the
like
date of the
within like
pictures.
3 or 4 hardest blocks in West Palm Beach. The tenants were very difficult.
Okay. All right, I understand. So here's kind of, having gone through all of this and heard everything, reviewed everything.
Can I propose I pay the city $15,000? Would the city accept it?
Well,
You
it's
can
not
ask the
about-
magistrate that.
This is not a negotiation. This is, if you
Yes,
guys
sir.
want to try and settle it outside of this setting, you're welcome to do that. But in this setting, I make the final decision.
Yes, sir.
And I didn't mean, if you saw me crack a smile, the 15 is not far off from where my head was. So as I said, the total amount of the lien is $126,550. The city's recommendation is that it be reduced to no more than $38,000. Having gone through all of this, then what I feel is the appropriate reduction in this case is $18,000, and I can give you a reasonable amount of time to pay that.
Yes, I need that because that's going to get paid by the closing.
Can you pay that
and
in
if-
6 months?
Would I have a choice to come back and say I wasn't able to sell the property?
Well, here's what happens. I will put a time frame on this. I mean, I've given people up to a year, but if it's not paid within that time frame, then the liens
Yes, I
revert back
understand.
to their original value. So
Yes, I understand.
that's why, I can give you a reasonable amount of time, but I'm not going to reduce that number any further. So
Yes.
I would love to see it paid off in 6 months. If you need 9 or even 12, I will give you that.
The more the better. I have actually a contract that's supposed to close on the 31st, so but anything can happen, the property is not closed until it's closed.
Okay, and then, so here's what I'm going to do, and I have to, I can't just have one lump sum. We have 3 cases, so I have to assign values to each of the 3 cases. So,
Oh, okay.
so what we're going to do in the case ending in 917, that lien is $48,900. That one I'm reducing to $7,500, payable within 12 months. The case ending in 316 has a lien of $3,450. I'll reduce that to $500, payable within 12 months. And the case ending in 521, I think, that's the one that's not on the agenda,
Yes, sir.
is a $74,200 lien. I will reduce that to $10,000 payable within 12 months.
You know what, we also, we did not adjust that. The $74,000 is also, I have calculated that to be, the value of it would be $48,000, because that was also in the foreclosure. But anyway, yeah,
Well,
let's
so
continue with that.
that's fine, and if you guys want to recalculate that, my number of 18,000 is not going to change, I think, based on the
Yes, I
totality of
understand.
the circumstances. Whether that lien, whether the top number should have come down more or not is not going to change my ruling of 18.
Yes, sir.
So I just think that's an exercise that doesn't need to take place. That is my ruling on this, and I will sign those.
And the last one, what did you say the numbers were?
1,000.
For the last case?
$10,000.
10,000.
So it's 7,500, 500, and 10,000, for a total of 18,000,
Okay.
payable within 12 months.
Sir, I'll email you the order. I will email you the order that breaks down the amounts for you,
Yes.
okay?
You're gonna get it
I'll
ready?
email them to you, as long as your email's in your lien reduction application.
Oh, yes, yes. Okay,
I'll
you're gonna
email it to
email
you,
it?
yes.
Okay. And I'm done?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Do we have the other case here?
I believe that's who's here in the back for 1401 Village Boulevard, 1725, CE 19090547.
Good morning, sir. I'm going to go ahead and place you under oath. Your testimony needs to be sworn, so if you'll raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalties of perjury that your testimony will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Go ahead and tell me your name and address, please.
Andres Abadi. The address of the property,
That's fine.
1401 Village Boulevard, apartment 1725.
And are you the manager and member of the LLC?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to hear from Mr. Posner from the city. He's going to give me some background information on the case and on the property. Once I've heard that, I'm going to come back to you, let you tell me about your request for the lien reduction. Once I've heard everything from both of you, then I will enter an order in this
Very
case.
good. Can I-
Go ahead, Mr.
can I
Posner,
take this
whenever you're
out?
ready.
Yes, sir, you can.
Thank you.
Case ending in 547, 1401 Village Boulevard, Unit 1725, date ordered 12/4 of 19, fine started 1/6 of 20. Ran for 46 days, total $9,200, $200 a day, date of compliance 2/21 of 20. Same owner. This is the second lien reduction application. The first one failed the 2 inspections and therefore got denied based on the fact that between their 3 properties that we had to check, none of them had current and correct rental licenses at the time. That's noteworthy because this fine itself is for a rental license violation. Same owner, city's asking for 50%.
Thank you. All right, yes, sir, go ahead.
Well, the reason why, first of all, we didn't get the rental license because it's a Delaware company, and I didn't know I couldn't apply with a Delaware company, that it had to be registered in Florida. When I register in Florida, sometimes it takes forever. You have to send all the paperwork to Tallahassee. That's what took me so long to get the company registered in Florida, so then I could apply for the rental license. After that, when we did the inspection, I have many properties, not just this one and not just this company, so I went with Kevin Levine. We inspected 14 properties. All of them passed. This one, he told me change the faucet. I did change the faucet, but I just didn't call him back to do the reinspection. That's what happened over here. And then when I asked Monique Williams what was the status of all the inspections that we did that day, he told me you have a lien on this property. And he said, what's going on? Why? And then I found out all this issue. that because I didn't call Kevin Levine, he's been running the penalty for these days. I have many properties in Palm Beach. All of them pass inspections every time he sees it. Every time it's like I remodel the units, like if I were gonna live in the units, and he knows that I don't invest $5,000 in the unit. I spend $15K in each unit that I buy because I don't want issues with tenants. I'm a property manager. I know how this business has to be run to be profitable. So that's what I do. I mean, the property was completely perfect. He said the faucet, it's leaking water. It was leaking like underneath because of a rubber. So I went ahead and replaced the faucet. It's just that I didn't call him back. So that's why in my understanding, that's why he put the violation.
Okay, let me, go ahead, Mr. President.
Actually, the city is a little troubled by the testimony. I mean, he's saying he has many properties, so he knows what needs to be done, but on the other hand, he didn't know he needed rental licenses, and wasn't aware that it's on him to contact the officer. The application he filled out for this actually stated it's the inspector's fault for not coming back. He's reworded it here, but it's,
Can I respond?
the onus is on the property owner to take care of these things.
Can I respond?
Go ahead.
I do know that I have to get a rental license. I didn't know, this is a Delaware company. I didn't know that I couldn't get a license with a Delaware company because I've been getting licenses with Delaware companies. That's why I didn't know that I couldn't get a license with a Delaware company. I didn't say that I didn't know that I had to get a rental license. I've been buying properties since 2012, and all my properties have rental licenses. So when I applied for the license, it was denied. For some reason I couldn't get it, and they told me this is a reason why. Never before I had this issue.
All right, thank you, sir. Anything else from this city?
Nothing further.
All right. Anything else that you'd like to tell me?
No, I mean, yeah, the fact that if Kevin Levine is not here, his inspector, that he always does all my inspections. He knows the way I have the properties. I mean, every time he goes into one of my properties, he says, I like the way you have it. And I mean, basically that I'm not a guy that, one of the questions that I asked Kevin is, why in West Palm Beach, because I buy properties in many counties, why is West Palm Beach the only place that requires a rental license, or at least that imposes the rental license? Because Miami doesn't do it, Broward doesn't do it, at least on my properties. And he said it's because we want to make sure that the renters are not abandoned. And he sees that I don't abandon my tenants, so I do all the opposite. So, no, basically that.
Okay. In this case, we have this was a rental license violation. The lien amount is $9,200. I'm going to agree to reduce this to $3,000 payable within 30 days. Okay? Thank you very much.
Sir, here's a copy of your order.
And I think that concludes the agenda. It is 11:47, and we stand adjourned.
Do I pay these over there?
The instructions are on the bottom of the order.
Thank you.
Thank you.